Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kayfabe Central podcast and another edition of the post show review. We are here with our Evolution 2025 post show review. I am your host, as always. Josh, joining me is Ruan Wrestling.
Hey guys.
So we are doing our Evolution post show. We're doing this the day after, not the night of. I think we're just going to start doing these the day after from now on. Um, but yeah, so we have Evolution, and it was a pretty solid card. And I'm now looking at the website, and I realized I made a mistake on the website last night, so I have to go and fix that. But yeah, we are going to be covering Evolution. Before we get into that, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. You have post notifications on. If you want to support on the monetary side of things, I have a Ko-Fi page. It's $5 minimum for the exclusive wrestling content tier. I am also going to be doing separate content other than wrestling, so like movie reviews. I'm going to try to check out the Superman movie either today or maybe tomorrow or sometime this week and do a movie review on that. I've heard good things about that movie, so I'm going to check that out and do a review for it on the Ko-Fi page. So if that interests you, make sure you go check that out. It'll be the same price probably as the exclusive wrestling content tier. I apologize for my dog in the background. Um, but yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into Evolution. Yeah, like I said, this was pretty solid, and I'm not going to lie. Going into this, I wasn't excited, but this did better than I was expecting it to. And it was a solid show, and it kept me entertained for most of it. Um, so obviously the pre-show we had nothing but just talking and just going over, women's history, women's wrestling history. Um, and it was kind of cool to see them uh talk about Jessica Carr and the other referee, and I can't remember her name. Um,
It's like Lashom or something like that.
yeah, I can't fully
It's,
remember.
it's, it's something like that.
Yeah, but that was pretty cool to see their backstory. Um, and like where they came from, how they came up. So that's some pretty cool stuff. Uh, but then we kicked off the show with the triple threat match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. It was Becky Lynch defeating Bayley and Lyra Valkyria to retain. This was a decent match. I think this was solid. Um, there wasn't any botches or anything like that in this match that I saw, and it was a smooth backslide from Becky Lynch to win the match. So this match gets a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, totally agree. I thought it was a very good match. Probably mm, almost my favorite match in the card. I'm sure we'll get to that one further down the line. But yeah, great match. We've seen it so far with Becky and Lyra. The match at Backlash was fantastic. The one at Money in the Bank was still good. It was a bit short, but it was still good. But we know they can put on great matches. We've seen it in NXT, and adding Bayley to the mix can surely only make things better, which it did. So fantastic match. Great opener, I think, as well. And yeah, I loved that ending sequence with Becky. It was very smooth how she did the back roll into it. So
Yeah,
yeah, same here. Great match, and I think for the minute, the right decision to have Becky retain again and to build it into SummerSlam.
yeah, I agree. Um, and I hope this means Becky moves on from Bayley and Lyra now. I don't really want this feud to continue with either of them. I hope so. I hope that this is the end. Um, I know there's been rumors about Becky and Bayley potentially at SummerSlam. I'm not particularly interested in that. I think Becky should move on to somebody else. Get some fresh challengers in the Intercontinental title scene. But yeah, other than that, this match was. I could see why a lot of people really enjoyed this match, but for some reason, I it was just decent to me. Um, and maybe I'm being too critical. Maybe I didn't pay too much attention to it or enough attention to it. Um, because at the start of these pay-per-views, I'm always like scrambling, figuring out dinner and like notes and all that stuff. Um, from the pre-show. So yeah, maybe it was better than what I saw, but from what I did see, it was still a thumbs up for me. Um, yeah, I don't know where Bayley and Lyra go after this. If they don't challenge for the women's IC title, maybe Bayley goes into the world title scene to some degree, even though that's like um kind of going all over the place, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But as for Lyra, maybe she does stay in the women's intercontinental title scene. I'd rather see something fresh for her, rather than running it back with Becky again, and the same thing with Bayley.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. I think whether or not it's a match you want to see, I have a feeling at SummerSlam it will be Becky and Bayley just for the name value alone. Um, it's obviously the first two nights SummerSlam. They want to sell it out. I think just for the name values of having Becky and Bayley, they will probably do that. Um, I think, as you mentioned, I would like to see some fresh names in here. One that I would really like to see, I don't think they're going to do it, unfortunately, because I think they are set on keeping them together. Is I would really like to see Kairi Sane in the mid card title scene.
Yeah,
I'd love like I do like the Kabuki Warriors, but I just think at this point in time, I want to see Asuka in the world title scene and a, a Kairi herself. I would love to see Kairi in the world title, but there's just so many big players there now that there's just unfortunately not the room. So I think she would do amazing in the mid card. So I think something like a Kairi and Bayley or Kairi and Becky, I would be really interested in seeing. There's also a bunch of other names they could chuck in there as well. But yeah, Kairi Sane's one I'd really like to see in that mid card.
yeah. If she wasn't busy with tag team stuff, Roxanne Perez is someone else you can throw in there as well.
Yep.
That would be really good for this division. Um, but yeah, so thumbs up
Yeah,
for
totally
the
agree.
opening match. What followed that, and like obviously Becky retaining wasn't really a surprise. What followed that, however, which was the NXT Women's Championship match. Jacy Jayne defeating Jordynne Grace by pinfall to retain. This happened because Blake Monroe hit Jordynne Grace in the back with the title to cost her the match. Now, on the pre-show, when Jordynne Grace asked Blake Monroe to be in her corner, and Blake was like hesitant and was like, "No, I don't want to ruin your moment or anything like that." I'm like, "Oh damn, the turn is happening tonight, isn't it?" And I was like, "No, I'm still going to stick with my pick of Jordynne Grace. Maybe they'll find a way around it." But as soon as Blake picked up that title, I'm like, "Okay, yeah, it's happening." And it happened, and Jacy Jayne won. Now, my first thought was that Jacy might lose at Slammiversary, but as I thought about it, and as I got some sleep, um, I think that Jacy Jayne is winning that TNA title as well.
Yeah, so I think firstly, what I'll say from watching this match back, and I'm finally gonna. I never actually said this out loud, so I'm maybe being a bit harsh on myself here, but I'm gonna just say I want to give Jacy Jane her flowers. She's actually quite good. I
Yeah,
was watching this match with Jordan Grace, and I didn't even my own blindness to the situation of being like, I mean, they kept referring her as the most beatable champion on Great American Bash, obviously. And I find my own blindness to it. I still think she is the quote unquote not exactly transitional champion because she has not had the defense, but I don't think she's going to be holding on to the belt for like too much longer. Like, no, she's not going to have a massive reign, but she was fantastic in this match. We know how good Jordan Grace is, so that wasn't a surprise. But yeah, the heel turn did come out. It was weird to say it was a surprise because I think we all know the heel turn was coming. I just didn't think they were going to do it at Evolution itself. But something that I actually said, it's funny, I kind of two, maybe not two predictions, but one of my predictions kind of might fall into this. So on Great American Bash, also, unfortunately, I wasn't able to be on the podcast with you and Stu. Um, when I did my own ones over on TikTok, I did say, because I had a feeling this is how it's going to go, that in the main event, well, obviously I didn't know it was the main event at the time, but in the tag team match, I did say that Blake and Jordynne were going to win, and Blake was going to pin Jacy Jayne. Obviously, that's what happened. Because
Yeah.
my argument was going to be, because I was for sure that Jordynne Grace was going to win here. And my point was that Blake was going to get the pin over Jacy, so that then she had some sort of stake to the NXT Women's Championship to say, I've pinned the champion. And then when the heel turn happened, I was like, oh, I don't know where this is going to go. And I wonder now if, and it's a big if, and maybe this isn't it's a bit of a rubbish booking, but I wonder if Blake Monroe somehow gets herself into that Slammiversary match and makes it a triple threat.
Mm.
Because, and with the greatest respect in the world, I don't see Jacy Jayne as the TNA Knockouts Women's Champion. But equally, on the other side, I don't see Masha Slamovich as the NXT Women's Champion. And now Blake coming in, and then part of the second part of this, we've been talking this weekend about how petty WWE are. They
Yeah.
are, towards AEW. We've seen it bringing in guys like Penta, and you see the spectacle they made out of his debut, trying to basically show a big middle finger to AEW. Is this potentially another version of that to bring in Blake Monroe, also the former Mariah May, one of at the time AEW's hottest talents of the last year, and put not only their main women's belt, obviously from NXT, on her alongside the women's title of the company that they have in partnership with as well to make a massive statement to AEW.
Yeah, I never even thought of that actually. Um, yeah, that is a good point. They could very well just throw Blake Monroe in that match somehow. Um,
So,
it could also be a case of where Masha does end up winning and TNA finally gets something out of this relationship. Because we did mention how it's always just been the WWE side of things taking their titles,
yeah,
and maybe finally TNA gets something out of this. But like you said, I don't know about Masha Slamovich holding the NXT Women's title. She hasn't been shown on NXT TV at all,
yeah,
other than like appearing in the crowd months ago. But yeah, they haven't really pushed that idea. And maybe it's a surprise factor. Maybe they haven't been doing that on purpose. Maybe it's just because we're all expecting one particular outcome, but oh, now Masha Slamovich is the NXT Women's Champion. She's coming over. Um, that could be the case.
yep,
Your idea, yeah, it is definitely a big if.
yep,
Um, because yeah, I don't know. This after this match, this feud can go anywhere.
oh,
And I have no idea where they are taking this. And
yeah.
I can see after Jacy, if she wins that match at Slammiversary, then I can see her holding it on to those titles for a little bit longer.
Yep, totally
And
agree.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I totally agree with what you said there. It's funny. I was kind of laughing just on the side there when you said that this feud can go anywhere, and I feel that this feud has taken so many directions over the last month, pretty much over the last couple of months, ever since Jacy Jayne beat Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah.
Um, 1 minute it seemed really unpredictable, and then it seemed kind of predictable, and now it's unpredictable once again. It's all over the place, and I'm here for it. It's amazing, but yeah, I totally think. I was going to say, are we planning on doing Slammiversary predictions, or are we leaving that? Because if so, I'll give one of mine away
So I
here.
haven't decided if I'm doing a separate video for that or if I am going to just like throw that into like the headlines of the week or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's nothing massive to be fair. I was just going to say if obviously they don't put Blake in the match and it is going to be a straight one-on-one match, I think what you said, obviously, yeah, they could absolutely swerve us with Masha. But I think if I was, you to tell me pick one of these two with I had to put my money on it, I would probably go with Jacy Jane. And I totally agree with what you said. If she is to win this, I think she might hold on to both the belts for a wee bit longer.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So once again, another plot twist in this NXT Women's Title division, and maybe this is where it picks up. Maybe this is where NXT picks up a little bit. Obviously they've pushed the narrative about the NXT Women's Division being the most stacked women's division in the world. Despite them losing like Julia and Stephanie to the main roster. But yeah, this could go in a variety of different ways, and I am interested in seeing where it goes. And this definitely makes people want to tune into Slammiversary now.
Yep, totally agree. That's what I'll be doing. I was on the fence of whether or not to watch it at the weekend. But now I'm like, I always like to get it and stay up to watch it anyway. But I'm very interested, and I guess that's the whole point of this whole partnership. Whether or not you like it or not, it is putting more eyes on the product and putting more butts in seats because I'm interested in the men's title match and now the women's titles match as well. So I think I'll be sitting watching it. I'm sure many other people will be as well.
Yeah. Um. So following that was the women's tag team championship match. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending against Zaruca, so Ruca and Zaria, the Kabuki Warriors, and Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They defeated them to retain. I went into this picking Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They still looked good in this match, and I think that we're going to come back around to that at SummerSlam. I think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte are going to win those titles at SummerSlam. I thought it would have been here, but obviously they want to keep the titles on Roxanne and Raquel a little bit longer. In terms of the match, it was fine. They had some cool moments in there. Um, yeah, it wasn't a bad match. Sol Ruca looked great. Uh, all of these women did great, and it was a solid enough match.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I like the story of the match. Particularly with the ending with Ruca. I think the whole story was that she's this fighter who's put on three very very good matches in the space of 48 hours, and uh, at the end of the match, it was just too much for her. Because at first I did think that I was like, oh, they've pinned the one person here that has a belt. So that was a bit strange. But then I had to think, I kind of thought about it, and I was like, right, no, the whole story, because they talked about it at length at the beginning of the match, the performance that Solrook had put in over the weekend from Friday, Saturday, and now Sunday. So I enjoyed that. I think we have now cracked the code with Charlotte. Those are some of the biggest reactions of the night, and it was for Charlotte Flair. And going back, how long ago WrestleMania? 3 months ago. The very, very different vibe, and I think it is people just want to now cheer for Charlotte. Stu mentioned it in our group chat, and I agreed with him. The fact that Charlotte's been doing all these interviews recently, and she is actually really likable and really personable. Um, and even she's admitted herself that she wants to be cheered now. She actually enjoys it. She likes being able to go out and take photos and sign things for the little girls out there. Um, and I think this is a perfect position for Charlotte that they're in right now. And I think the team with Alexa is doing all the absolute wonders. But yeah, I agree. I think it will move on to SummerSlam and we'll probably get the two of them facing Judgment Day. And hopefully from there, I would very much like to see Charlotte and Alexa pick up the belts.
Yeah. And she looks like she's having fun with Alexa Bliss.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
that's great. Because obviously we've in the past we've known Charlotte to not be happy with certain things and where she is on the card, but she seems to have turned a leaf a little bit. And um yeah, I can see her and Alexa Bliss winning those tag titles at SummerSlam. I don't think this tag team is done. I think they're next
Yep,
in line.
yep, totally agree.
Following that was the women's championship match, Tiffany Stratton defeating Trish Stratus to retain the title. This was a solid match. Um, it was a it was what I expected from these two. And Trish still can move well in that ring. Um, I've known like people I've personally trained with in the past have been training with Trish in Toronto here when she's getting ready for a match. So I've like seen clips of that. I've seen pictures. So she's been in the ring and she's been putting the work in. Um, and I can always commend her for that, especially at her age. Um, and she still has a great look at her age. She still can move well for her age in that ring. So, yeah, kudos to Trish Stratus. Um, the match quality was fine. It's like I said, it's what I expected. Um, they both look great in terms of where Tiffany goes now, and obviously we're gonna get into the other woman's title in a little bit, but I am intrigued now in where this goes. I am assuming it's just going to be Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill at SummerSlam. And yeah, that's the only way I can see
Yeah,
this going, unless we do a draft and the new women's champion is brought back to SmackDown and Tiffany goes to Raw.
yeah, I totally agree. It's a bit of a weird one. I can talk about some of the speculations I've seen as well in a minute. But yeah, just firstly on the match, I think I totally agree with what you said. I mentioned it in my video earlier. Um, this was probably, and I'll say this first before anyone jumps away. It was probably my least favorite of the just straight up matches on the card, with no stipulation,
Yeah.
and it was exactly what it was going to be, and that's why I'm not disappointed. It was an absolutely good match. It was a fine, good match. It was a great exhibition match for Tiffy. She gets to be in there with Trish Stratus, and as you said, it's exactly what it needed to be. Didn't go too long. Was some good news. A hell of a moonsault at the end. I don't know if you picked it up on when Tiffy landed on right on Trish's head.
Yeah.
Um, right at the end. Yeah, it was a bit brutal, but as you said, Trish still got herself up and cleaned it off and got on with it. So fair play to her. But yeah, that's all it was. It was just an exhibition match. So fair play to the two women. But yeah, where we go from here, as you said, and also we can speak about the more and maybe in more in depth when it comes to the main event. But yeah, I really don't know actually for Tiffany. I have seen a lot of people saying now, and I don't know if you're the same, that because the Queen of the Ring, it wasn't for a specific title, was it? It was just a title match at SummerSlam, I believe.
No, the Queen of the Ring was the you face the champion of your brand.
Is it right?
Yeah.
Okay, well in that case, then that puts all that speculation to bed. Because yeah, I thought that as well. I wasn't 100% sure, but if that's the case, then what I'm about to say is completely invalid. Was that potentially we did have Jade facing off for the World Heavyweight title, or the women's one, sorry, and uh, then I did think if that's the route they're going to go down, maybe after SummerSlam they have this draft they've been talking about. But the issue is that leaves Tiffany really with no one at all. And unfortunately, and I would hate to say it and even try and wish it into belief, Nia Jax is the only
Oh my
one,
goodness.
which I can't think of one person on the planet that would want to see that again. So yeah, well, in that case, then we don't have to worry because what I said there was completely invalid if it is the fact that they have to go after the champion of their brand.
Yeah. Um Honestly, I'd rather Tiffany Stratton versus Candice LeRae other rather than Tiffany and Nia again. Um And that's not a knock on Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae is a great wrestler, but like obviously she has no momentum. But I'd rather see that
Yeah, yeah.
than Tiffany and Nia
Tiffany
Jax.
and Nia.
Like,
Yeah, totally agree. That's
uh,
funny. Actually, it's funny you even mention her name. I was laughing off topic. Did you catch last night Wade Barrett about to smack Michael Cole because he kept calling Candice LeRae Candice
yeah,
Michelle? He
I
did it
forgot
about
to
three
bring that
times in a
up.
row. He
Yeah.
did it about three times in a row, and you could just hear in Wade's voice he was getting so pissed off.
Wade Barrett was absolute gold on commentary last night.
Oh, he's a
Um,
gem.
yeah, they need to keep him on commentary for as long as they can keep him on commentary because
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
he was great last night, and I don't understand how Michael Cole keeps making that same mistake.
I know.
Because for those of you that don't know, this is not the first time he has made that mistake.
It,
Um, yeah, but I did find that funny how Wade kept getting angrier every time.
oh, it was so good. It's the fact, as you said, this isn't the first time he's made the mistake because they laughed about it when he said it. I think he then went on to say it another two times, and it got to a point where I was like, "Is he just ribbing like Wade at this point? Like, surely not." And then the final time, and that's how I knew that it wasn't a joke. I don't think the final time Michael said it, Wade didn't even say anything, and it's almost like I could hear him through the microphone not saying anything at all. You could just feel the angle coming out. He must have just been looking at him like, you idiot. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. This is a sidetrack, but it's very funny.
yeah, no, that was hilarious. Yeah, Wade Barrett was amazing in commentary last night. Um, okay, so before we get into the last few matches, I am going to start another meeting because we're not going to get through this in 9 minutes. So I'll be back. Okay, we are back. So yeah, the that was the women's championship match, and Wade Barrett being Wade Barrett on commentary. Um, Following that was the no holds barred match between Jade Cargill defeating Naomi after hitting an avalanche Jaded through a table. Solid match. This was pretty much as standard as a no DQ match can get. They had some cool spots. They didn't do anything crazy. Other than Naomi trying to gouge Jade Cargill's eye out. Um, but yeah, other than that, it was pretty standard. It wasn't a terrible no holds barred match, but wasn't the best no holds barred match I've seen. Um, Maybe my standards are a little higher now after All In. Um, but yeah, I did catch like and this is like off topic, but like I was remembering like the chain being brought into play. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, like AEW just did this. Um, but during the tag title match, and I forgot to bring this up, Wade Barrett brought up the belt collector label, and I was like, really? There's no way they because he was referring to Sol Ruca potentially winning a third title, and he was like, "Oh, she could be the belt collector if she wins this match." I'm like, "Are you serious?"
Shit.
Um, but yeah, I just found that funny.
Yeah, I didn't actually hear. I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
To be fair, they did mention Sasha Banks quite a few times last night. To be fair.
yeah, they did. Um, which is fair. Like she was at the start
Oh
of the
yeah.
Women's Revolution. Um, but yeah, the belt collector thing threw me off guard, and then the chain came into play. I'm like, oh man, like I may be reaching, but if I'm not, they're not trying to hide it anymore. Um,
God.
but yeah, this was a solid match. And I like what they did here.
Yeah, same here. I enjoyed it. I think it was maybe a little bit short, but I also understand they don't have the AEW going for 7.5 hours at a time anymore like they had. So but yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked the spot on the outside with the monitor at the announce desk. That was fun. The only thing in the match that And I mentioned it earlier in my recap that I found a little bit weird. I do understand that if this is the reason behind it, was the whole point of the presence of Bianca Belair, because I understand it and the fact that I guess they probably just wanted to have Bianca on the show. She's obviously such an important part of the women's division and still in that transition period from the previous Evolution to this one. So I can understand that, but she felt a little bit non-consequential in this match. Like she didn't, there wasn't really much that what happened between her and Jade or her and Naomi. She was literally just there to count the pin. She obviously was like checking on them and all that, but they didn't really seem to progress anything there. I am going to take a guess that it was simply for to have her on the card, which is fair enough. It's Bianca Belair. She got a big pop when she came out. That was, I think, the whole point. But that's my only really, guess, slight nig with the match.
Yeah, you're being kind. She didn't do anything in that match. Um,
Okay, there we
there was
go.
like really like other than her just being there on Evolution. I if this wasn't Evolution, there's no way she would have been the special guest referee. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
nothing really happened. I thought something was going to happen when she was checking on Jade.
Yep, same.
And Naomi would have been like, "Oh, what the hell? Like, why are you checking on her or whatever?" Um, but nope, nothing happened. She took this referee job very seriously and counted fairly. Um, like even like referees in the past, I think there's only been one that's actually taken it seriously like this before, and I think it was Stone Cold. But even he, like after the matches, would get involved. The other one would be Shawn Michaels, but even him, he'd like eventually have a spot in the match and dictate the outcome of that match. Um, yeah, Bianca
Yeah.
Belair was just a referee, and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I guess they just wanted to give the fans Bianca Belair, give her that pop.
Yeah.
So um,
Uh,
it is what it is. Um, Following that though, we had the battle royal for a championship match at Clash of Paris. Now, this is where I made a mistake on the website. So if you go back and look at the website before this drops, it still says to be decided next to it, despite it having the winner written next to it. I'm pretty sure you guys can put that together. That was the mistake. Um, but Stephanie Vaquer wins by eliminating Lash Legend. I didn't jot down the eliminations in order this time. Um, I was just sitting back and enjoying the battle royal because I like battle royals. Battle royals are fun. Um, but yeah, they kind of got rid of the NXT women pretty quickly. And when we got down to the final four, which I believe was Nikki Bella, Lash Legend, Stephanie Vaquer, and who was the fourth?
no. No, Jack.
Oh, was it Naya?
Yeah, it was no.
Okay. Um, yeah, so that was the final four. And when we got there, I was like, oh no, they're gonna have Nikki Bella win this, aren't they? And thankfully she did not. She got eliminated, and to my surprise, Lash Legend was the runner up. So that means, and Lash Legend looked great in this match, by the way.
Yeah, she did.
Um, she had a good showing, and honestly, I can see her, Kalani Jordan, channeling her inner Kofi Kingston, in this match. Her Kalani Jordan getting called up to the main roster. I think it's time. I think they are ready for that spotlight, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing them thrown into a mid card division, like the women's U.S. title division, which I think needs a little more help right now. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would definitely not be opposed to seeing that. But yeah, Stephanie Vaquer comes out on top with the victory. So she gets a championship match at Clash in Paris. Now, I don't know who she's going to end up facing at Clash in Paris because now it could literally be anybody.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I can get into that. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Battle Royals because, on the one hand, I enjoy them. There's something different. It's a bit silly, but it's what it is. The other hand with them is they're very formulaic in the fact that you're kind of just waiting around for quite a bit of time for anything really to happen. But hey, that's why I think I like the Rumble over the Battle Royal because you do have that surprise factor that's chucked in there. And also with the Battle Royal, they didn't do that. I did start to kind of get my own head a little bit, thinking that they might have a few surprises because of how late on in the card this was. But
Yeah.
nope, didn't have any. Is what it is. Is what it is. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I said we know what you're going to get with a Battle Royal. It was fun. Chelsea Green was amazing as always. As you said, I thought the NXT girls looked amazing as well. They said they did get chucked out fairly fast, but I think they got a good showing. Especially as we mentioned, Lash. I'm very very happy for Lash
Yeah.
making it through at the final. I had it coming down to Nikki and Stephanie, and I did have Stephanie to win still. But no, it was good. The only part of the match I really didn't like was, and you mentioned it before, the treatment of Julia in the US women's title.
Yeah.
I feel like she just kind of just got dumped out, and that was it. Obviously, yes, it was by Zelina, which okay, kayfabe that makes sense, but it just seemed like it was quite early on, and it was just like, oh, Julia's gone. So I wasn't a fan of that. But hey, well, the rest of it I thought was quite fun. I liked the stuff with Lola Vice actually, Nikki. I thought that was quite cool. But yeah, in the end, Stephanie won. Very, very happy for that. But yeah, I really don't know what they do now because I had. Oh, I guess we'll obviously get to it, but I mean, I guess not really a spoiler, but obviously I was very much set on Stephanie facing either Io or Rhea because I would have been very happy with either of those matches. But I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to be getting that right now, or at least for right now.
Yeah. Um, so before we move on to the main event, um, little bit of side note. Can we have Booker T and Wade Barrett for Stephanie Vaccare's next match on commentary? Because Wade Barrett referred to
Please.
the Devil's Kiss as the bouncy bouncy. And for some reason, that's just as bad as what Booker T does. um, yeah, I would love for both of them to be on commentary for a Stephanie Vacare match. But yeah, in all seriousness, I like Stephanie Vacare. She is quickly moved up in my rankings of one of my favorite women's wrestlers or just wrestlers in general in the world right now. And yeah, she's fantastic. After the match, she had a interview with Stephanie McMahon, and Stephanie put herself over by saying, "Yeah, I can speak Spanish. Let me ask you a question in Spanish." Um, so I found that pretty funny. Um, but yeah, Stephanie Vacare is challenging for a championship at Clash in Paris. After that was the main event for the Women's World Championship. It was Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. They tore the house down. They Yeah, they knocked it out of the park. I didn't expect anything less from them. This is going on my list of match of the year candidates. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, fantastic match. Shout out to my sister, by the way, for timing this match. Because I just didn't. Yeah, it surprised me. She started timing the match. I was like, you've been timing this match? She's like, yeah, they've been going for so and so. They ended up going for 25 minutes, including everything that happened.
Damn.
Um, and what happened was Io Sky hits it first started with Jessica Carr eating a nasty springboard drop kick. Um, and took her out of the equation for quite a little bit. Io and Rhea brawled, and when they came back to the ring, eventually Io hits a Spanish fly. And at this point, when they started brawling, I was like, "Oh no, we may be getting a Naomi cash in." And when Io hit that Spanish fly, I'm like, Naomi, I don't care if you got put through a table earlier. Now is your moment. And lo and behold, a few seconds later, her music hits. And Naomi cashes in successfully, throws Rhea out of the ring. Um, was it Rhea she threw out of the ring?
Yeah, it's real.
Okay, yeah, and she pinned Io. Um, yeah, and Naomi is the new women's world champion. So that is very interesting because, like we've been mentioning, did not see this coming at all. And the whole thing was we thought that Naomi would be cashing in at SummerSlam, but she took her opportunity and cashed in here. And it just makes me think what I brought up earlier is maybe they do a draft and they'd have to do the draft like next week or something. Because SummerSlam is in 2 weeks. Um, so maybe they do a draft and somehow Naomi gets over to SmackDown, Tiffany goes to Raw, and then we get Jade Cargill and Naomi at SummerSlam. That is a possibility. It is a more likely option that we see Naomi, Rhea, and Io in a rematch at SummerSlam. And I can see Naomi retaining in that triple threat match and going on to face Stephanie Vaquer at Clash of Paris.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as you said, go before the match. What a match. It annoys me how talented those the two of them are. I said that in my review. I was like, they knew. Like, you just see their faces. They know that they can go out there and put on something special, and they do it every time. And it really annoys me just how talented they are. But yeah, fantastic match, and yeah, as you said, did not expect the outcome. It's quite funny. If I put up my live reaction to the cash in on TikTok earlier, and there's a moment, as you said, just after the Spanish Fly, where they're both on the ground, and it's I did mention in that video when you've been watching wrestling long enough you can kind of get a feel for how matches are going and when it's starting to build up to its natural conclusion.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that here. They hit the Spanish Fly, and I was like, they've been going for quite a while, and both women are down. And then you see my face, I kind of go, wait. And then literally as soon as I say that, Naomi's music hits. And I was like, you can see the clocks in my head turning, and I was like, wait. I loved it. It came so out of the blue. I think I said it. We were all so fixated on it going to be Naomi cashing in on Jade at SummerSlam. That felt like the complete natural progression that they were going to do. And yep, fair play to WWE. They completely swerved us there. I mean, I said it as well in my recap. I've been very critical of WWE over this weekend, and I think rightfully so. But fair play here. They caught us, mate. They caught me out anyway. Um, and yeah, I'm so happy for Naomi, someone who absolutely deserves it. You know, went away, completely rebuilt herself in TNA as an Knockouts Women Champion, and then came back. Has been solid, but not had too much. She's just been putting other people over, and now she has one of the best characters on the roster. And she's been doing amazing work. So fair play to Naomi, and I'm very excited to see where she goes from here.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I am impressed at how far Naomi has come because I am someone who got to meet her while she was in TNA. And she I never would have thought that she'd end up in the position that she is. And that's not a knock on Naomi. I just didn't think that she would end up back in WWE, let alone in this position.
Yeah.
Um, and kudos to her. She
Oh
did her
yeah.
thing, and she has been working with what um she's been given, and she's been given a lot of opportunities. And she made the joke on Twitter a few days ago after Drew made the joke that if you want more opportunities, change your last name to Fatu. And then Naomi responded and she's like, that's why I changed my name. Um, so that was funny. I saw that tweet earlier from Naomi. But yeah,
Great.
interesting in where this goes now.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, great match and great outcome. As soon as the camera panned to the stage, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's happening.
you know it's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, shout out to the producers for doing that. That was our cue. Like, okay, yep,
That, yeah, that was the key. I wanted to notice what happened with the bell, by the way, because she cashed in and they rang the bell.
yes. Oh, I forgot to
And
bring that up.
I was so confused when it happened. I was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Yeah, for those of you that didn't catch it, Naomi cashes in and they ring the bell, but she doesn't hear it.
I
So
know.
she's telling them to ring the bell even though they already have. So they have to ring the bell again for her.
That was a good laugh. But yeah, it was funny. And yeah, I just echo what you said, man. Like, fair play to Naomi. I was the first person, well, no, not the actual first person. Uh, I was the first person to say that when the whole Jade Cargill, who attacked Jade, storyline was going on, I did say that I didn't want it to be Naomi simply for the fact that I just didn't think she had it in her in the nicest and with the most utmost respectful way possible. We've seen it before. She's, I think it was around 2014, 15, where they told Team Bad stuff. She tried to be heel. It was, I won't going to say it was bad, ironically, but it didn't really work. And she really found herself as a babyface with the glow gimmick, and she got to the top from there. But I think it kind of did eventually hit a bit of a ceiling. Um, and then when it looked like she's going to be turning heel again, I was a bit like, oh, I feel for her. I just don't know if she was going to be able to do it. And completely have eaten my own words. She's ran with this and she's made it her own, and she's currently one of the best things on the roster. So fair play to her.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, and I'm not going to lie, for the first time in God knows how long, I am excited for Monday Night Raw tonight.
Yeah.
Not only just because of the women's division, but interested to see what happens with Seth Rollins. Um, I guess we could take a minute to talk about that. Now that we've talked about the Women's World Championship match, um, no idea what they're going to do with Seth now, though. Um, I
No.
haven't heard anything. I know that they have a gauntlet match tonight for the to determine who's going to face Gunther at SummerSlam.
Yep.
It's CM Punk, LA Knight, Penta, Jey Uso, and Braun Breaker.
Yep.
I have a strong feeling Punk is winning that.
Yep, I
Um,
think so. I said that as well. It was either Punk or LA Knight, just because of obviously as much as there's an asterisk around it, he does technically on the record have the win over Seth Rollins. Um, but yeah, I said it between them two, either LA or Punk, just for the name value, kind of similar to what I said earlier about Becky and Bayley. That they might just go down that route just because it's just for the name value alone to get butts and seats at SummerSlam. Um, because you have Punk in the card no matter what. So yeah, I said that earlier. The only report I have seen, and I don't know the legitimacy of it. I've just seen it on the photo and the TikTok. I have seen it a couple of times, so that's why I'm like, I'll bring it up. Apparently, it could be looking to 6 to 8 months for Seth for his knee. So I don't know the legitimacy of it, or how accurate that is, but I've seen that getting thrown around the kind of rough area.
Man, that's rough. Um,
Yeah, it
yeah,
sucks.
if that's true, that does suck for Seth. Um, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with this Money in the Bank briefcase because um, even like with me, like if I were fantasy booking this or if I was booking the WWE, it would be a lot better, by the way. Um, but if I was booking this, I don't know where I would go with this now because you put all your eggs in
Yeah.
one basket with Seth Rollins and his faction, and rightfully so. You can't predict that he's going to get hurt, but um, yeah, I don't know.
No, I know. I feel like this is one of these things when such a shitty situation happens and you really need to think quickly on the fly. I They can obviously maybe have a match for it. Maybe Punk wins here, and then maybe someone like I don't know, LA Knight takes on Braun Breaker for the custody of the briefcase or something. It's really stupid, I know, but I would probably just give it to Braun, to be truly honest with you, just to keep it simple. I think before, and we said it back when we did the Money in the Bank stuff anyway, that before Braun joining Seth's faction, back at the start of the year, Braun was my pick to be Mr. Money in the Bank anyway. I think he was a lot of people's, so I feel like maybe we just play it safe. We might not want to. We maybe do want to push out there. Go LA Knight was obviously a crowd favorite at Money in the Bank to win it. There was a lot of outrage when he didn't. Um, could go Penta. I absolutely love Jey Uso, but God, please not Jey Uso. But yeah, I think probably if Punk wins tonight, I would say either LA Knight or Braun Breaker's the most likely to take on the briefcase.
Yeah. Um, yeah, the way I see the gauntlet match going tonight, I honestly see Braun Breaker running through everybody except for CM Punk.
Yeah, I could see that as well. To be honest with you, as it is, I mean, to be fair, as gauntlet matches go, it's a hella stacked one.
Yeah,
Like,
very.
because there's no one really, like you said, like in normal gauntlet matches, you can be like, oh God, I feel bad bringing up Candice LeRae again, but like when Bayley had to do the run the gauntlet, it's like Candice comes out, like, okay, Bayley's going to go through this, but as you said, I can see Braun just running through them, but these are also all some of your like top baby faces in the company,
Yeah.
so there's a hell of a stacked gauntlet.
Yeah. No, 100%. But yeah, for the first time in a while, I am intrigued in Monday Night Raw tonight.
Yeah, should be good. I mean, I think it's a thing we can go back to just to sum up Evolution. Fair play to them for putting on something. I think a lot of people weren't too hyped for it, and it's completely WWE's own doing and their own booking. But fair play to the talent, smash it at the park, especially after the car crash that is Saturday's main event. I was thinking of this, by the way, just for spoilers, because I know you mentioned, which I think is very interesting, by the way, the other day that you do end of the year rewards. If there's a one for worst show of the year and I am allowed to vote in it, that is getting my vote. And
Yeah.
it's not even going to come close. I I was talking, I mentioned earlier, my colleague that watches WWE. I was chatting to her earlier and I was just going off. I was like, I hated that show so much. Just everything about it. So that is my LA nomination for you.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I have a few like I have a few ones on there that like some people may look at me weird for and be like, "What?" Like one of those would is NXT Vengeance Day I have on there, I know.
Okay.
Um I did not like that pay-per-view. Um
Try to remember which one was Vengeance Day again.
I believe that was when Stephanie Vaquer beat Fallon Henley for the Women's North American title.
Oh, okay.
That's
I need to go back. Yeah, I need to go back and look at the card to actually remember that.
yeah, I can't remember the entire card either, but I just remember not liking that uh
Okay.
pay-per-view. Other people did. I just personally didn't. Um, but
think
yeah, that I know that's on the list. I can't remember what else, but yeah, Saturday night's main event is probably going to be on there as well. Um,
it's
yeah, Evolution,
so bad.
Evolution definitely the second best show of the weekend, but like a far second because like All In was just on another level.
Oh, yeah. I said this, and that's what everyone has. Well, I think you agreed. The sheer stupidity of WWE. And I know I'm going back to it. It's not like they were just trying to counter program against like a Grand Slam or anything like that. Um, or when they used to do was it like Winter's Coming or something like that. It's not like they'll try to do that. They were literally trying to counter program against effectively AEW's WrestleMania almost,
Yep.
and you're putting on that absolute car crash and just sheer pile of hot garbage that was Saturday night's main event. Like, especially, and I know it was also tactical by AEW, to have Omega and Okada well, maybe not overrun, but run into the start of Saturday night's main event, and then to have the Texas Death Match. You're telling me that I'm to go and watch whatever they put on over that?
A
I
contract
don't know.
signing.
Exactly. Like if they had put this up against, again, I wouldn't have agreed with it, but if they had moved forward SummerSlam to compete, I could Well, I say understand. I don't agree with it, but I could understand it being a bit harder to choose. Whereas this one for me was a no-brainer, especially with Saturday night's main event. I already don't like Saturday night's main event because of the sheer amount of commercial breaks. It's gone past the point where it's kind of funny. It's genuinely a joke how many there are. I mean not the gun for sorry, the Goldberg retirement speech was an absolute joke. Like,
Yeah.
um, it's that I don't know what their thought process was, and I will forever be pissed off at WWE now for this weekend. Apart from Evolution, fair play to all the women. They deserve their flowers. They were amazing.
Yeah, 100%. Um, but yeah, Evolution, my eyes, thumbs up. It was a success.
Yep.
Um, yeah, much better than Great American Bash and Saturday Night's main event for sure. But yeah, All In was from the start. We knew it was going to win the weekend. But
Yeah.
I will give Evolution their credit and WWE their credit. They surprised me with this pay per view, and it was a
Yep.
lot better than
And
I was expecting.
yep. Exactly like we mentioned. It said fair play to them, and especially to the talent because they're the ones that deserve the actual praise.
Yeah,
Um, so fair play for knocking out the park and
yeah,
put on a hell of a show. It's just, yeah, as you said, it was all in. You look at the card, you would have
yeah,
needed a miracle to come up against that.
100%. Um, but yeah, that is Evolution 2025. That is our post show review of it. Yeah, I don't know if I am doing a separate video for TNA Slammiversary or if I'm going to throw that in the headlines of the week. If you guys want a separate video for that, let me know. Um, because it is a pretty big show. There's a lot of potential shifts in pro wrestling that can happen on that show. Um, so yeah, let me know if you guys want a separate video for that, or if you just don't care and would don't mind it being in the headlines of the week, because that's where I've just been throwing my TNA predictions in. Uh, but yeah, let me know and make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews that come to the channel. Subscribe to the Ko-Fi page if you want to support on the monetary side of things. It's $5 minimum for the exclusive wrestling content tier, and I am going to start doing movie reviews and probably even TV show reviews on there as well. I am still currently injured, so I have a lot of time on my hands. So that just means more content and articles um to put out there. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next one, which will probably, I don't even know when the next one will be, to be honest. So I'm not gonna give any promises. But I will see you guys on the next podcast. Make sure you guys follow Rule and Wrestling on TikTok. He's always got some great content out there. I am going to watch your Naomi cash in reaction now. Um because I could just imagine
Ooh.
your facial expressions when that happens. Um
It's like I said, it's like the gears turning in my head. You can see it happening in my face.
yeah. But yeah, without further ado, I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.